All right, folks, I want to welcome you to your first franchise podcast. We got a great guest here named Chad Harrison, and he's got a very intriguing hobby or slash way of staying in fitness that's called Muay Thai. Am I saying that right, Chad?
That's exactly right.
In it's a defensive. What is it?
Yeah, basically just a defensive art form of you using elbows, knees, of course, your hands, just about everything. It's actually over 400 years old, and the Thailand Army had used it originally. And then, yes, it keeps me in shape.
All right. Speaking of fit, we're going to talk about financial fitness today because the numbers on your business are so very strong, and you are with 1 hour heating and air conditioning. Before we jump into the business, who or what are you grateful for?
Yeah, grateful for my family.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people lead with their family for sure.
Yeah, that's where it all starts.
Absolutely, and that's what this is about. This is about franchising is more than just going out and making money. It's about building something that you can support your family with, find your freedom doing that, have the freedom to call your own shots. 1 hour heating and air conditioning is a very intriguing brand because I love the branding. I was in Tampa earlier this year and I saw the signage, the billboards for 1 hour heating and air conditioning. We have a franchise here, one of your locations on the North Shore here on the other side of the Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana, from not too far from New Orleans. So your brand it stands out when you see it. We're going to talk about how strong the numbers are when we get to the revenue side. But what is the problem that 1 hour heating and air conditioning solves? You all differentiate yourselves a little bit in the marketplace. And what is that solution?
Yeah, quite a few things, in that service sector that we solve. First of all, I mean, and believe it or not, you would think this is always one of the easiest things for a company to accomplish, but it pairs out not to be. We're on time, so I mean, and then in the our motto and in our professional acumen, I mean, we're on time or you don't pay a dime. That's our motto. It's that professional side. You receive the information of who your technician is coming, when before they arrive, name, we park in the street, not in the driveway. So that professional side. And then, of course, getting the best price point for the customer, offering annual visits to continue to ensure that the house stays efficient in its heating and cooling. We've been in business over 20 years and just perfected that system for the customers.
How many franchises do y'all have across the United States?
I have over 350.
So you all are at scale. So, okay, so it touched on a couple of things. One, that is you're addressing a huge problem because most people don't know when they're hiring somebody to work in their house, no matter what it is, when will the person show up is always a guess.
Yeah.
So that you all address like probably one of the biggest things. This is such a simple thing.
Yeah.
Except it creates a layer of professionalism that you all bring to the marketplace.
Yeah.
That match, and you pair that with your branding, and you have to live up to that because it's part of your branding.
Yeah.
And you all clearly do it because you wouldn't have gotten to 300 units across the United States otherwise. So you're committed to doing what you all said y'all are going to do.
Yeah.
And you also are at scale with 300 plus units, which creates some opportunities probably to get better pricing. I suspect you mentioned price for the customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know the right price to charge. Believe it or not, in the business world, some businesses don't charge enough. They charge too much, but we know exactly what is a fair price coming across to the customers. We have some of the best warranties in the business. So just well positioned in that market.
Yeah. And I think about service industries. I've said this for years. And in background is working with entrepreneurs for decades. I've always said in the service industry, anybody can offer a fair price, not necessarily the cheapest, not the most expensive, but a fair price, and actually show up on time. And that's the formula that you all use. Yep. And you're able to offer the fair price because you've got the economies of scale, because you're so large in buying power that y'all have.
Yep. And then training, technicians being properly trained, understanding what they're working with, having the right equipment. Yeah. And to your point, economies of scale, those advantages come into play for this brand.
So let me ask you a question. When someone's considering this as a franchise, does that mean they're hiring technicians? Are they working in the business as well?
Great question. So they can hire the technicians. It's not a prerequisite for our franchisees to have HVAC experience.
Okay.
We've had individuals, IT specialists, nurses, just a mix and variety. The training is there for the franchisee. Backgrounds tend to sometimes, again, investment side of the world, financing, banking. But yeah, we'll get the technicians. They'll hire the technicians, and those technicians will be trained according to the brand. Big advantage with our training too. It's called Success Academies, our own proprietary training. It gives them the opportunity to start to bring in some new talent too, the guys with little no experience, because it's almost equivalent to a trade school.
Gotcha. So when someone comes into the business, what does it look like? Okay, John Smith wants to invest in your brand, right? What does his day look like? What is he doing, and how many people is he starting with?
Yeah, the average employees would be two.
Oh, you subcontracting the installers, or how does that work?
No, all W-2s.
What about launching the business? Because you got to get the marketing to get the
Right.
attention to get the business. What type of support do you all provide for the new franchisee getting going?
Yeah, great question. I mean, they have a business coach that works alongside with them. It's like another set of pair of eyes on the business. Our ops team will start to reach out to them almost the night that become a franchisee and begin
Okay.
coordinating that. There's a 120-day onboard training to begin getting them the checklist, to begin ramping up, getting their trucks, getting the systems, understanding the systems.
And I'm always intrigued by the marketing piece because you got to get the business going. Are you all coaching them? Are you all providing them collateral materials to get out into the marketplace with that? Or are you all doing it for them? And then what else are you teaching them? I mean, obviously they're probably they're networking at business meetings and for getting out into the community. What does that look like for somebody considering a franchise?
Yeah, we've had some franchisees that have ended up on local network TV on their stations, but we provide a dedicated support, marketing, communication. We have the marketing toolbox we provide for them if they wish to use it, print materials, TV, radio spots, national program, website, social media, digital campaigns. Again, it's that system, as that franchise model, that proven system, as we like to refer to it as, starting on third base. That marketing is there. And we slowly kind of open up that spigot as they begin to ramp up.
Okay, so the investment level, what does that look like?
So your investment level, you're on the low end at about $128,954 to kind of, and then high end $223,738, so $223,000. You're looking, and sometimes with that higher end, maybe an additional truck, or as a semi-absentee, maybe hiring a GM, lead technician. And then the lower end is that owner-operator model.
Do you prefer someone to come in to be an operator to start, or can they come in with a manager?
They absolutely can come in with a manager.
Okay. So it's an executive model. And what's a realistic? I mean, I always tell people, look, you're investing in a franchise, you're investing in a business.
Yeah.
What's a realistic amount of time for somebody who's going to keep their job, perhaps, or they've got other businesses and they want to keep doing whatever else they're doing, and they bring a manager? How much time does that person need to put into this?
Yeah, with that semi-absentee model, and that's a great question for your listeners to always ask and to be clear on. For semi-absentee, it's something we can work around their schedule. So if they're working the job and they're running this business, maybe 15, 20 hours.
Okay.
The lower end, 15.
And if it's your business, you're the one running it, you're going to hustle a whole lot harder because you're in it. And the person you hire is going to hustle too, but they don't own it.
Right.
But that's okay, because that's how we scale businesses, right? And that owner also has to have the passion to help be the cheerleader and steer that team.
Wanting to build that team to better the community.
All right. Now let's talk about the investment level. Okay, we talked about that, Pete, the revenue side, because clearly you do not get to these kind of numbers if you don't have the back of house support. So these people your franchisees can scale. You've got some significant numbers. That small of an investment can generate some, they can grow a very large business. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're looking at the highest gross revenue in our group was $48,383,000.
Not 4.8, 48.
48.
Okay.
And on the average gross revenue for 4.979,
Okay.
so 4.9 million. Yeah.
And is that one territory for the average? Looks like
That should be
two territories. Okay. Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense. What does the ideal, you touched on this a little bit. What does the ideal candidate look like?
And that's a good question. Again, a prerequisite doesn't have to be HVAC experience. And we'll talk to a lot of individuals that will think they need that. They think licensing, I'm not licensed, or I don't have that HVAC experience. But we can assist with that. So at the end of the day, a candidate just has to be able to follow the system. The franchise model is that system. And that's what we have placed for them.
Does the owner need a license of any type?
We would find a qualifier, and that's the license they utilize to operate.
Okay. Is that difficult for them to get? I mean, obviously, you got 300 franchisees, so that's 300 people who have received either had licenses or went out and got a license. It was worth the effort.
Right, right. Within 3 to 4 months, I'm up and operating. They should
Okay.
have that license.
What is the vision you all have for the business going forward? What do you all see?
So, it's over $300 billion market, and we are one of the biggest residential HVAC companies, franchises in the U.S., over 300 million. So the growth there is substantial and the opportunity is substantial. For the vision forward is just continue to run this model the way we do. I mean, as they always do, new pilot programs and such to improve the model, but we continue to do what we do. And then this just remains an essential service, and just industry is just, and this brand is well positioned.
Well, you touched on something really important, and I did not ask earlier. Do you all do commercial as well?
Yeah, so it would be considered light commercial apartment complexes.
What's the ratio from residential versus commercial?
It's going to be mostly, we break it down, maybe new installation, repair, maintenance, new installation being a higher percentage of the work these franchisees do. But at the end of the day, we look at it as all residential.
Gotcha. All right. I love people to see their full potential when they're looking at business. And so somebody can reach their full potential. They're considering your franchise or business or any other franchise. What's your number one piece of guidance for that person considering this journey?
To completely understand the model, go through the discovery process, take your time, make sure it's the right time. Timing has to be right, and just thoroughly go through the process and ask as many questions as you can. Do your own research on your end too. Understand what a franchise is. It's a system you follow. It's a system that's in place.
That's key right there, the systems and processes. And that's where I think that's one of the major threads, if I were to say there's a thread between a lot of the comments when I ask this question specific to franchising, is they're investing into a proven system that works. There's not a need to come in and try to reinvent the system.
Right.
Because it's already been tested, proven, helps generate millions of dollars, the one that you all have. It worked. And that's part of the cultural process that you all have too, vetting somebody to make sure they are a good fit, because clearly y'all have made some good choices to grow as much as y'all have grown. My last question for you, if they're going to do this, are they looking at what is the best route? One territory, two territory? Because people are reaching the average unit volume of 4.9. Does that make sense for them to look at the two territories?
I've seen it a number of different ways. It's an open-end conversation at the end of the day with operations and to figure that best plan forward. I've seen some come in and get that first territory, and then maybe a few months later they get the second one. So it's just an open-end conversation.
Gotcha.
Whatever's best for that candidate.
Very good. I think that's the perfect place for us to land this right here. Folks, if you're interested in this franchise, 1 hour heating and air conditioning, this is a needs-based business. I'm in South Louisiana. And when my AC went out, it's not an option.
You got my number, all right?
Had to get I got a picture I took of my wife standing in the door of the refrigerator when the AC was out because she was so hot in the house. This is a needs-based business. It's not going anywhere. The demand is very, very strong. Whether it's the summer or the winter, people want to be warm or cold. Either way, you're getting people, and it's a great business model. And so, folks, if you're interested in this, reach out to me. I'm working with Chad and his team, and I will get in touch with you. The best way to reach me is yourfirstfranchise.com, yourfirstfranchise.com, and hit the contact us button. Chad, I want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you further.
Absolutely.
You,
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
all right, sir. Thank you. And that is a wrap with Chad and 1 hour heating and air conditioning. Folks, this is such a need-based business. When our AC went out in August, I didn't care what the price was. At that point in time, we needed AC in New Orleans. And if you've been in New Orleans in August, you know how important that is. And it's just a needs-based business. It has to be done, and that's what drives the revenue so strong in this business. Again, if you want to learn more about it, check it out, yourfirstfranchise.com. Hit that contact us button. Get in touch with me, and I will be in touch with you right away. Look, I've got my brand new book out called Your First Franchise Roadmap. I lay out the steps to walk you through the entire process. And if you're considering, if you're not even sure if you want to be in the franchise business, I lay out what your options are to consider going into business, whether it's being an entrepreneur, investing in a business, or looking at a franchise. So I lay all that out, unpack all that. I share the options you have as well, the types of different categories of businesses, the franchises. There's over 300 industries that we work with, over 4,000 franchises. It gets a little confusing at times for people. That's where we come in as franchise. That's where I come in. And we specialize working with people considering their first franchise, hence yourfirstfranchise.com. Do me a favor, if you thought this show is valuable and you're on Apple, please rate it 5 stars. Use all the help. We want to help as many people as possible. If you're on YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe, and we're building this channel one person at a time, and that's what it takes to build a business, one person at a time, one action at a time, and you know the drill. Be intentional and make the day a great day. Bye-bye.